As far as positioning, I mean, if you want us to sit in any particular way or whatever.
You know, I'm gonna go there to get better light. Just want to know where the first place is.
So, there's so many different enormous stories just that are kind of standalone stories that even certain things about an individual document that can just be their own story. And I just want to start churning those stories out. I basically woke up this morning and already started writing stories. So I'm hoping to, start publishing within like a day or 2 days.
Okay.
As long as you're good with that.
Yeah.
And so as far as the stuff we have to talk about, I mean, I'm kind of like dichotomizing it between stuff that I'd like to talk to you about in terms of like the documents and the content, and Laura has a bunch of questions about that as well. Sort of while we're working through the documents, getting your take on a lot of this stuff that will help me understand it better. But then also the sort of you story, right? Like the who you are, why, what you've done, why you've done what you've done.
Yeah.
And I'd love to do that first.
Okay.
In part because you're the only one who could do that. So I'd like to just get it done so that it's done. And also because, it might be that you want to do that early because it might be necessary, or we might choose to have that done early. Tell me your thoughts on just where you are with that.
The primary one on that, I think I've expressed it a couple times online, is I feel the modern media has a big focus on personalities.
Totally.
And I'm a little concerned the more we focus on that, the more they're going to use that as a distraction. And I don't necessarily want that to happen, which is why I've consistently said, I'm not the story here. Nervous.
No, it's a very, very cheap pen that just emphasizes Forrest Pro. Go ahead.
Anything I can do to help you guys get this out, I will do. I don't have any experience with media, with how this works. So I'm kind of learning as I go.
Right. So I just want to get a sense of why did you decide to do what you've done?
So for me, it all comes down to state power against the people's ability to meaningfully oppose that power. And I'm sitting there every day getting paid to design methods to amplify that state power. And I'm realizing that if, the policy switches that are the only thing that restrain these states were changed, you couldn't meaningfully oppose these. I mean, you would have to be the most incredibly sophisticated technical actor in existence. I mean, I'm not sure there's anybody, no matter how gifted you are, who could oppose all of the offices and all the bright people, even all the mediocre people out there with all of their tools and all their capabilities. And as I saw the promise of the Obama administration be betrayed and walked away from, and in fact actually advance the things that had been promised to be sort of curtailed and reined in and dialed back, and actually get worse, particularly drone strikes, which I also learned at NSA we could watch drone videos from our desktops. As I saw that really hardened me to action.
In real time?
In real time, yeah. It'll stream a lower quality of the video to your desktop. Typically, you'd be watching surveillance drones as opposed to actually murder drones where they're going out there to bomb somebody. But you'll have a drone that's just following somebody's house for hours and hours, and you won't know who it is because you don't have the context for that. But it's just a page where it's lists and lists of drone feeds in all these different countries under all these different code names, and you can just click on which one you want to see.
Right. But so if your self-interest is to live in a world in which there's maximum privacy, doing something that could put you into prison in which your privacy is completely destroyed is sort of the antithesis of that. How did you reach the point where that was a worthwhile calculation for you?
I remember what the internet was like before it was being watched, and there's never been anything in the history of man that's like it. I mean, you could, again, have children from one part of the world having an equal discussion where, they were sort of granted the same respect for their ideas in conversation with experts in a field from another part of the world on any topic, anywhere, anytime, all the time. And it was free and unrestrained. And we've seen the chilling of that and the cooling of that and the changing of that model towards something in which people self-police their own views. And they literally make jokes about ending up on the list if they donate to a political cause or if they say something in a discussion. And it's become an expectation that we're being watched. Many people I've talked to have mentioned that they're careful about what they type into search engines because they know that it's being recorded. And that limits the boundaries of their intellectual exploration. And I am more willing to risk imprisonment or any other negative outcome personally than I am willing to risk the curtailment of my intellectual freedom and that of those around me whom I care for equally as I do for myself. And again, that's not to say that I'm self-sacrificing, because it gives me, I feel good in my human experience to know that I can contribute to the good of others.
Could you elaborate on that?
So, I don't know how much of the programs and the actual technical capacities everybody's talked to you about, but there's an infrastructure in place in the United States and worldwide that NSA has built in cooperation with other governments as well that intercepts basically every digital communication, every radio communication, every analog communication that it has sensors in place to detect. And with these capabilities, basically the vast majority of human and computer-to-computer communications, device-based communications, which sort of inform the relationships between humans, are automatically ingested without targeting. And that allows individuals to retroactively search your communications based on self-certifications. So, for example, if I wanted to see the content of your email or, your wife's phone calls or anything like that, all I have to do is use what's called a selector, any kind of thing in the communications chain that might uniquely or almost uniquely identify you as an individual. And I'm talking about things like email addresses, IP addresses, phone numbers, credit cards, even passwords that are unique to you that aren't used by anyone else. I can input those into the system, and it will not only go back through the database and go, have I seen this anywhere in the past? It will basically put an additional level of scrutiny on it moving into the future that says, if this is detected now or at any time in the future, I want this to go to me immediately and alert me in real time that you're communicating with someone, things like that.
So I don't know who you are or anything about you.
Okay. I work for Booz Allen Hamilton, defense contractor. I'm sort of on loan to NSA. I don't talk to a Booz Allen boss. I don't get tasking from Booz Allen. It's all from NSA.
So I don't know your name.
Oh, sorry. My name is Edward Snowden. I go by Ed. Edward Joseph Snowden's the full name. S-N-O-W-D-E-N.
And where are you from?
I was born in North Carolina, a small town, Elizabeth City. There's a Coast Guard station there. I'm from a military family. Yeah. But I spent most of my time growing up around Fort Meade in Maryland.
And your family, what's the consequences for them?
This is actually what has made this hardest. My family doesn't know what's happening. They're unaware. I don't think I'll be able to keep the family ties that I've had for my life because of the risk of associating them with this. And I'll leave, what to publish on this and what not to publish to you guys. I trust you to be responsible on this. But basically, the closer I stay to my family, the more likely they are to be leaned on.
So you don't want me to report this?
I mean, we don't. Yeah, we definitely want to do whatever we can not to include them or bring them into the mix.
So, that's fine. I won't.
I'm sorry, let me interrupt you. Can we just stop for a second, do the document, and then go back to that? That makes sense.
What do I need? Do I need an email address that we're using, or?
Well, so you can